It's Tuesday, May 19th, and this is now on HNN.
Ave Maria.
Hawaii has lost a music legend.
Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shine.
Willie K passed away at the age of 59 after a lengthy battle with lung cancer.
My joy that I'm doing on stage, making people laugh. Oh, that was so much fun.
Today we take a look back at his remarkable life.
For the land of the free and the home of the
Good afternoon, you're watching special coverage of the passing of Willie K.
The renowned Hawaiian musician passed away peacefully last night, surrounded by his family at his home in Wailuku. The news was posted on Uncle Willie's official Facebook page early this morning, thanking everyone for all the love, support, and prayers. The post says a celebration of Willie's life will be announced at a later time. Jim Mendoza takes a look back at his life and legacy.
This is how we do the blues in Maui.
William Kahaiali'i, known to his fans as Willie K, was an extraordinary talent. But during a Hawaii News Now interview, he described himself in much simpler terms. He called himself a working musician.
I played with the insecurity that I wasn't good. I was just, just enough.
His just enough was better than good. He received 19 Nahoku Hano Hano awards. Close friend Kelly Boy DeLima says he earned his accolades.
He was just phenomenal, man. I would watch his fingers go, man, and I would just be amazed.
Willie K's musical tastes were eclectic with a capital E. Different styles were opportunities to explore, and nothing was off limits.
I approached it with an open mind because I knew nothing of country or jazz or rock and roll.
He once said he liked to keep his audiences guessing. A Willie K show had it all, even opera.
He was not happy with just one genre. He was a variety kind of guy.
The musical roots came from his family. He loved performing and feeding off an audience's energy. In 1992, Willie swept into the spotlight with multiple Nahoku Hano Hano awards. Then came successful musical collaborations with Amy Hanaiali'i Gili.
He definitely showed me a whole nother world of entertainment. There's an entertainer and then there's a showman. There's two completely, that's apples and oranges. I'm very grateful the time I had with him because it really opened my musical mind up to there's no set path, there's no cookie cutter, you just do it.
As a solo performer, Willie K shared the stage with musical heavyweights.
They all knew him. They all loved him. They knew how unbelievably talented this guy was.
What a pleasure and an honor to come play with Willie K.
Yes, I'm at the terminal now.
Early in 2018, Willie revealed that he was diagnosed with lung cancer. This January, he posted an update on Facebook.
I'm still going to be rocking. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop.
He continued performing as long as he could. The music was pain management.
Cancer tries to say, no, we're here to control everything. And I'm over here to say, no, you're hidden for nothing.
What so proudly we hailed.
Willie K handled cancer on his terms. It was the same in his approach to his artistry.
He just captivated people.
He was authentic, and his audience knew it.
And I make the world come to me. That's exactly what I do.
I'd like to thank the people of Hawaii for accepting the music that I have given and shared with you.
I was blessed to share whatever time, I could with him on this earth. But, I'll see him again. I'll see him in heaven.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hawaii loses a son, one of the most incredible entertainers to ever come out of Hawaii.
Willie K is survived by his wife, 4 children, and 3 grandchildren.
Also to all of my ohana and all of my fans over there in Maui, you know who you are. Thank you.
Our Billy V knew Willie K for the span of his career. He joins us now with more.
For 2 years, Willie's been battling cancer, but he's been rocking the islands for years with hits like Molokai Woman.
But she doesn't mind 'cause it's too old. She's my Molokai woman. She's my Molokai woman. She's my Molokai woman.
That took Willie K from a couple of years ago, Hot Hawaiian Nights performance. But the song that launched his career was the song You Ku'uipo.
Bring these moments to my mind. For you Ku'uipo are an island, one of a kind. One of a kind.
Willie brought an energy and charisma and new level of kolohe-ness to the stage while performing. His family says that he was hospitalized until actually the day of the lockdown is when he went home, and he was home all the way until last night. He fell ill with cold symptoms over the weekend. Fever set in yesterday morning. We're told coronavirus did not play a role in his death. We went to Maui just before COVID-19 began, and we talked with Willie about music and other things he had just played on the island of Oahu.
Blue Note show was unreal. Yeah, it was just jam-packed. And I was having so much fun. Well, I didn't need medication to continue on. And I realized I played for 2 hours with no pain, nothing hindering my joy that I'm doing on stage, making people laugh. Oh, that was so much fun. And it's really, really hard because my clientele now that listens to my music, and I love rock and roll, the blues and everything else, we are all turning silver, brother. You know what I'm saying? We are all turning silver.
That laugh, that smile. Willie was born in Honolulu October 17, 1960, and raised on the island of Maui. He leaves behind his wife Debbie, his 2 daughters, 2 sons, 3 grandsons. Willie K, 59 years old.
I have been listening to Uncle Willie's songs all morning. He was such a special person, and our thoughts and prayers go out to his family during this difficult time.
Certainly our condolences. And we have to get to those latest numbers. Breaking news from the Department of Health. Switching gears here.
The State Health Department is reporting just 1 new COVID-19 case today, a patient on the Big Island, bringing the statewide total to 641. Hawaii's death toll stands at 17, and so far more than 90% of patients have been released from isolation.
And this comes as the governor revealed a new timeline for our recovery.
The governor says Hawaii is transitioning from the Safer at Home stage to the Act with Care stage. That means starting June, medium-risk businesses and operations such as beauty salons, dine-in restaurants, and indoor gyms will be allowed to gradually reopen, assuming Hawaii's infection rate remains manageable. Gatherings of 10 people or more are still not allowed in Phase 2, and social distancing rules and other safe practices will remain in place. High-risk populations and kupuna are also advised to continue to stay home at this time.
In this phase, we start to reconnect Hawaii's local activities by gradually reopening medium-risk businesses and activities. We still need to limit gatherings. However, we anticipate a gradual phasing in of larger gatherings as we progress through the impact levels from 10 to 50 to 100 people or more.
Now, high-risk businesses include bars, clubs, and large venues, but Governor Ige says he does not expect these places to reopen in June. Officials say a 14-day observation period between reopenings will give the state time to assess the situation before moving to the next phase, and decisions will be made by the governor and the county mayors. The governor says he's extending the 14-day quarantine for all travelers, including inter-island, through June 30th. He's also extending the eviction moratorium, which prevents residential evictions for failing to pay rent, also through June.
All right, I wanted to show you this picture we have posted online. Valley Island police are searching for a Colorado woman they say broke the mandatory 14-day quarantine rules. MPD says Ashley DeGroff arrived on Friday, but immediately canceled her hostel reservation. Now investigators say the 31-year-old isn't returning calls or emails. If anyone has information, call 244-6400. That's 244-6400.
Another 700 prisoners could be paroled early to curb the spread of COVID-19 in Hawaii's jails and prisons. Between March 2nd and May 7th, 832 were freed or diverted from jail, many pre-trial detainees and those on probation. The Hawaii Paroling Authority has identified another 722 prisoners who can be paroled in the next 2 months, those with less than a year on their sentence, the elderly, or sick. Service providers said many are homeless and not eligible for services once they're out.
We are seeing an increase in number of people in encampments that have come straight from incarceration. This is a gap group because folks coming out of incarceration are not eligible for many of the homeless and housing services because they're targeted for chronically homeless folks and because they've technically been housed during their incarceration.
Mental health providers also said keeping in touch with those released can be difficult because they don't have phones. Those rearrested are not tested for COVID-19 before going back into the jail population, but they are given temperature checks.
All right, I want to show you that map from Johns Hopkins University that we keep referring to. It now shows that 92,000 people have passed away in the United States because of the coronavirus. Meantime, every state except Connecticut has eased some of those stay-at-home restrictions. Michael George has the latest on how the nation is dealing with this crisis.
Hi, baby! Texas child care centers welcomed kids once again after Governor Greg Abbott gave them the green light to reopen.
Parents need to make sure their kids are taken well care of. They need to make sure they're safe.
The development in Texas came as officials in Maryland confirmed the state's first pediatric death linked to COVID-19. 15-year-old Dariana Dyson, who was being treated at Johns Hopkins for more than a week. At least 21 states are still seeing new cases, including Georgia, where health officials have come under fire for misleading data used to justify the state's reopening.
We're ready to go. We're hoping that the people come out.
In South Florida, restaurants and hair salons are operating again. Smaller attraction parks are hoping to reopen by the end of the week. Western New York, including Buffalo, began reopening today. But here in New York City, restrictions remain tight. City officials are focused on getting 1,000 contact tracers in place by the end of the month to investigate the spread of the virus. On Tuesday, New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio announced plans for virtual summer school.
We have a number of students that need to be in summer learning, students who need summer learning to help them finish out the school year strong and get ready for the next one.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo says the state's capital region will begin its first phase of reopening Wednesday, and Memorial Day ceremonies of up to 10 people will be allowed.
We want to honor our veterans, and we want to make sure that no matter what happens, we are still honoring our veterans.
In New Orleans, healthcare workers were honored by the city's jazz orchestra, a welcome break for heroes on the front line of the coronavirus fight. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
It looks like Pier 1 won't survive the pandemic. The 58-year-old retailer specializing in home furnishings announced today that it's asking the bankruptcy court to cease its retail operations as soon as reasonably possible. The company said it tried to find ways to remain in business, but liquidation was the best option. Pier 1 currently has more than 500 stores, down from 1,000 last year. It plans to sell its remaining inventory, website, and intellectual property. Orders placed on its website will continue to be fulfilled. And Walmart's stock prices is up as it announces strong sales of essential items during the pandemic. The country's largest retailer says sales are up 10% in the 3-month period ending April 30th compared to last year. Meanwhile, online sales are up a whopping 74%. Walmart said it also got a boost in April from shoppers using their government stimulus payments. Customers bought essential goods in bulk, and home office supplies also sold out very quickly. To reward employees who are keeping up with the demand, Walmart paid out 2 cash bonuses during the crisis. The big box retailer has also hired 235,000 new employees, most on a temporary basis.
Right. I don't know how any of you guys feel about this, but many Americans say they are unlikely to fly even as these restrictions are in place and safety measures, but the airlines say they're working to minimize any risk. So Chris Van Cleve from CBS News got a behind-the-scenes look at what United Airlines is doing.
We're on our way back to Denver.
The friendly skies that United flight attendant Nick Engen knew have turned turbulent.
All we're doing is giving out waters or canned beverages, sodas, no cups, no ice.
He's documenting the new normal of flying for his video blog, Non-Rev Nick, including his now standard pre-flight temperature check.
Good. Cool. Thank you.
Arriving at Washington Dulles, flyers find a much emptier terminal, fewer kiosks, plexiglass shields,
thanks,
reminders to distance, and stepped-up cleaning. Online outrage over this crowded flight prompted United to launch a new social distancing policy this week, alerting passengers if they're on a flight with 70% or more of the seats sold. The vast majority are less than half full.
Everyone has a different sense of what is considered uncomfortable. We are inventing a playbook for cleaning and keeping things safe every day.
Before boarding, a team of cleaners go row by row, wiping down seats, tray tables, knobs, anything people might touch. Then the plane is disinfected using an electrostatic fogger, also used in hospitals. It sprays a mist that kills viruses and bacteria.
By June, United plans to be doing this fogging between every flight on every plane. How does fresh air get into the plane?
Through these inlets.
Maintenance Managing Director Jim Hammer says cabin air is constantly refreshed during flight and run through a hospital-grade HEPA filter like this that strips out bacteria and viruses. Linda Bowen and her family are waiting to board a flight to Chicago after her mother passed away. She admits she's a little nervous.
If there was going to be too many people around, not practicing the social distancing, not wearing masks, but I found that most are.
Hey, how are you? Gone is boarding by group number. Now, flights are boarding back to front. As passengers get on, they're handed sanitizing wipes.
The airlines say they need about 70% of the seats full to be profitable. Right now, they say they're averaging just 31 passengers per domestic flight, but their numbers are trending up. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Reagan National Airport, Virginia.
Like most places, shopping at an Apple store will look different as the company begins to reopen more locations. Apple will now require temperature checks at the door and face coverings. The number of people allowed inside is also limited. Nearly 100 Apple stores have already reopened around the world. Curbside drop-off and pickup options at some locations will also be allowed.
All right, we're seeing more and more of that everywhere things start to reopen. So social distancing and work from home orders have pushed many of us to try creative new ways to get the job done, and that includes photographers. Some are even trying video calls to do their photo shoots.
Interesting.
Yeah, and we're going to see that. Nancy Chin shows us how it's done.
Good, cute. Look at each other. This is typically the busy season for Kristen Lopez, a Pennsylvania wedding photographer.
This time of year, we're usually shooting a lot of weddings, but things look a little different now.
Lopez adapted her methods behind the lens of a different kind of camera, taking and editing screen captures through FaceTime.
They place the phone down somewhere. We make sure it's a pretty good spot with some decent lighting. And then I crack jokes to them. I have them snuggle and just do different prompts.
The picture quality is surprisingly good, but Lopez says she's not focused on pixels and resolution. Her mission is capturing a moment in time.
That's cute. Put your hand on his face a little bit.
Like she did for this engaged couple in New Jersey.
In the years to come, we'll be like, oh, you remember that time we were quarantined in our parents' basement and we got these really cool pictures done?
The same idea is taking off overseas as well. Italian fashion photographer Alessio Albi reached out to models he's worked with to stage FaceTime shoots at their homes all over the world.
It was like a game in the beginning, you know, something that you do with your friend.
The photos became so popular, Albi says he's now receiving commissions from fashion brands. He calls the sessions a true collaboration with the model.
People seem sometimes to forget what photography is about. It's not about like the complex gear, expensive stuff that you have to use. It's more about communication.
The creative compositions offer a unique snapshot of these unprecedented times. Nancy Chen, CBS News, New York.
Lesson learned. If anyone out there wants to FaceTime with me and pay me
to take pictures.
Yeah, to talk them through taking a picture of themselves, feel free. Hit me up on Facebook. Glad to do it. I don't know what my fee is yet, but the photographer said a good point. A picture is not about pixel qualities or things like that. It's really about communication and what the image actually captures.
Yeah, and they actually looked pretty professional.
Did look good. They did look good.
Okay.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for This Is Now today. We have extensive coverage coming up on the coronavirus response the state and city are having. There's a news conference coming up at 1:30 with Kirk Caldwell. It's going to be a little different, right, Ash?
That's right. So I guess for the first time in a while, reporters will be allowed back into the mayor's office. So I will be there in person rather than texting questions via the phone.
Another sign of how things are changing.
And I'm actually really excited about being allowed outdoors today.
This is your first out of the studio assignment in a really long time.
Yeah, it's been more than a month, I would think. Yeah. So I'll be out there.
All right, stay safe, everyone. We want to leave you with this newscast with a historic, legendary performance by Willie K. This is from A Hot Hawaiian Nights. Let's play it out for you.
How you doing? Kachi music mako. What the children love to sing, and the music joy it brings. Everybody does the thing when the music up in mako. What the ladies love to dance, and the men to take the chance. What the singers of the men. Everybody get together, they clap their hands and sing this song now. Yesterday, Caribe. Yesterday, we cha-cha-cha. Yesterday, Caribe. Yesterday, we cha-cha-cha. Yesterday, Caribe. Yesterday, we cha-cha-cha. Kachi music must go on. Little Kungan drums out in Lahaina. Feel the rhythm till the beat, playing loudly down Front Street, and the music very sweet. Play the Kungan drums out in Lahaina. Well, the ladies always sway, and the men they always sing. What a very happy day. Everybody get together, they clap their hands and sing this song now. Yesterday, Caribe. Yesterday, we cha-cha-cha. Yesterday, Caribe. Yesterday, Caribe. Yesterday, we cha-cha-cha. Kachi music must go on. How you people doing? Let me hear ya.